Hey, my name's Izzy, this is Rolling for Your Cards, coming at you with another Magic the Gathering video, going over the red cards from, whatever the set's called. Why do I always forget sets? Like, I literally, the Cowboy set, Thunder Junction, that's what it's called. Anyway, let's hit over them. So, first off, we've got Brimstone Roundup. 1 in a red for an enchantment. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 red mercenary creature token with tap. Mercenary token. It's got the whole tap. Target creature gets +1/+0 till end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. And then you can plot it for 2 in a red. This is a card that I think is really good. Second spell each turn, which means if you're playing like a spell slinging deck, you're going to get a lot of these. Like, if you're playing a spell slinging deck and you're just casting 1-drops each turn, you're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because you cast this is your first spell, so the second spell you cast, you'll get that one. You can plot it to get that second spell, and it's each turn. So yeah, I think that's great. I don't think it's gonna see play anywhere else. No, the reason I would think it might see play somewhere else is like, you cast this, then you cast the second spell and you get your 1/1. As long as you can cast 2 spells on your opponent's turn. But that's not always the easiest thing to do. Casting a second spell. Even in Commander, unless your deck's designed around it, it's kind of hard. Accidentally though, like if you cast this, then you get the 1/1 afterwards. I kind of like it, because as long as you're casting 2 spells on each of your turns, and you're just playing like a low to the ground deck, a low CMC deck that can draw you cards, it's interesting. I kind of also like this in something like Niv Mizzet, any of them, especially any of the Izzet ones, especially the triple 3-pip or the double 3-pips, because like you cast them and you draw cards off of casting the small guys, so spell slinging decks are really gonna like this card. Just getting you a bunch of 1/1s that can then also buff your like Niv Mizzet or whatever flying creature you might have. If you can make 1, 2, 3, 4 by your turn, you're tapping 4 to give +4 to your commander, hitting them harder. I think it's interesting. I think you'll see it in Commander and not many other places. Calamity Galloping Inferno. This is 4 and 2 red for a 4/6 legendary creature horse mount with haste, and when it attacks while saddled, choose a non-legendary creature that's saddled at this turn and create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of it. Sacrifice that token at the beginning of the next end step. Repeat this process once. So, this is really, really cool, and I think a very unique commander. Okay? The way this works as a commander is great. I think it's expensive, but it does get effect right away. So this triggers ETBs. This triggers combat damage effects. It will not trigger attack triggers. So, sorry about that. My cat was playing with her toy, which is fine, but when I'm making a video, that thing makes a lot of noise in the background. I'll let her play with it after the video. So the whole point here is that, yeah, you fill your deck up with ETBs and combat triggers and other big scary creatures, and you double saddle it. So saddle it with 2 creatures, because you repeat this process once. So you will get 2 copies. And technically you can choose the same creature twice. So if you saddle it with 1 creature, you can get 2. But this turns stuff like Sad Robot into like, yeah, it gets you 1 land, and then you saddle up your Calamity when you cast Calamity, like your following turn, because like turn 4, Sad Robot, grab your 5th land with it, play your 6th land, play Calamity, saddle Calamity with Sad Robot, swing with Calamity, double trigger Calamity's effect because you repeat the process, getting 2 Sad Robots, grabbing 2 more lands, and then sacrifice the tokens at the beginning of the next end set, so you sacrifice them, drawing 2 cards. Stuff like that. Turning Sad Robot, which is already a really decent card, into an even better card is fantastic. even something like Burnished Heart, where you can do this and then pay 6 mana, the 6 that you have because of Calamity, and sacking them both to grab 4 lands is insane. Because the 4 lands, they're basically pay for the next time you do it with the Burnished Heart. So, it does a lot. Just with 2 simple cards like that, you're going to ramp crazy like. But there are so many other cards that trigger. I think it's a very unique deck. I don't think you're going to see it a lot because it's a mono red deck, but this is one that I love. I absolutely love this deck, the concept here. I don't think you see it being played. Standard Godsmon and Animar is running. What Animar list is running this for CEDH? What does it do for CEDH? Animar's running Roxanne. That makes sense. That's like a decent ramp / removal. I guess this comes down turn 2 and makes a Oh, okay. Okay. That guy comes down turn 2 and makes a copy of something like Palancron or Mole Drifter or, yeah, a double copy your Dockside. Only in Animar would that actually really work, and I love that. I love that concept. That's so cool. But yeah, Calamity is great. If you're, it's non-legendary, so don't worry if like your commander has a good ETB. Don't run this. This is great as a commander. I don't think I'd see it many other places. Being a 6-drop means I really just don't want it anywhere else. Even in the 99. Maybe if you're running like another deck that likes to cut like ETB stuff, this might be useful. But Caught in the Crossfires is 2 red for an instant with Spree, 1 generic. Caught in the Crossfire deals 2 damage to each outlaw creature, or 2 damage to each outlaw creature. For 1, College does 2 damage to each non-outlaw creature. So simply put, this is 3 to kill all outlaws, or all small outlaws, 3 to kill all non-outlaws, or 4 to just do 2 damage to each creature. I think this is kind of whack. There's other cards that just do it normally. Maybe if you're running like an outlaw deck, then it's like, okay, cool, with 3 to just not hurt my guys. Cool. Coyote running goes with, I just want to see if I can find you here. It's probably a ways down. Yeah. Resilient Roadrunner. It's, Acne. Cunning Coyote is 1 in a red for a 2/2 Coyote with haste. And when it enters the battlefield, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 haste on the turn. Plot for 2. I don't like it. I think it's weak. Deadeye Duelist is 1 in a red for a 1/3 human assassin with reach and pay 1 tap. It does 1 damage to target opponent. That does trigger Outlaw. I don't like that you have to pay 1 to do it each time. I think it's a little weak. There's one that just tapped to do 1 damage to each opponent. So like to do 1 damage to each to target opponent, like yeah, sure it triggers Outlaw, but there's better ways to do that. Demonic Ruckus is 1 in a red for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature gets +1/+1. It has menace and trample, and when it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card, and you can plot it for a red. This is like pretty good at aura. If you're running enchant auras in red, giving your creature an extra power and toughness plus menace and trample, which are both like don't mess that up. Menace and trample are both fantastic. That means they got to be blocked by 2. And even if they are blocked by 2, you're still going to be able to get more damage. And it really makes it hard to block it. Like, okay, well, I've got to block it with 2, so I'll block it with my 2 1/1s. But the guy's like a 6/6, so I'm still taking like 3 or 4 damage here. And both my guys are dead. And, like, don't really want to waste that. And then when it gets put in the graveyard, draw a card. That's the other part that I love about this. I don't think it's going to see play other places. It is seeing play. Gruul Prowess. Yeah, okay. Mid-range. Okay, so this is seeing play in Pioneer. And like Gruul aggro. How many copies? 1. Just the 1 copy. What about the newest? Slicer. Yeah, giving that to Slicer's gross. But up here, is it still just 1? Yeah, it's just 1 copy. But 1 copy is fine, because it replaces itself, so it's not bad, and it gives you that ability to get through if you're playing against certain decks. So, I think it's fun. Even if, like, your commander just wants to hit people, toss it in your deck. This on like a Tolly is great. Discerning Peddler, 1 in a red for a 2/2 human rogue. When it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. I guess if you're playing a discard deck, it can be useful. But that's about it. Explosive Derailment. 1 for an instant with Spree. 1 red for an instant with Spree. Pay 2. Deal 4 damage to target creature. Pay 2. Destroy target artifact. So for 3, you pop a creature. For 3, you pop an artifact. And for 5, you pop both. Not bad. If you're looking for removal in like mono red, you could do worse. Ferocification. Ferocification. 2 in a red for an enchantment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose 1. Target creature gets +2/+0 to the turn. Target creature you control gains menace and haste until its turn. I like that this is an enchantment. This is a repeatable enchantment that either is going to buff your commander each turn, giving it like +2 so it can hit harder, or giving a creature menace and haste to make sure they get in to deal damage. If you're finding that like your deck and commander is like your commander's struggling to hit them, but you really want them to hit them, toss this in your deck and just give them menace and haste. And there's probably someone who has 1 creature or someone who has 2, but they really don't want to lose both to your commander. Kind of like that. Gilly Courser, 2 in a red for a 4/2 lizard mount. When Gilly Courser attacks while saddled, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card, saddle 1. I don't mind it. Again, if you're like, it's 3, so it's not like at that like 5 or higher where I'm just like, don't run it, it's bad. But like if your commander can saddle this, being able to get that extra card draw every single turn, yes, it's exiled, but you can play it to your next, until the end of your next turn. And that whole keyword where they're changing it from end of turn to end of next turn really gives you the push to go, okay, this guy comes out, does nothing, but next turn it'll get me an advantage that I can use either that turn or the following turn. And you can just keep kind of going and going, and each turn swing with your 4/2 at someone available, try to get card advantage. Great Train Heist is 1 red for an instant with Spree. 2 in a red, untap all creatures you control. If it's your combat phase, there is an additional combat phase after this phase. 2, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain first strike until end of turn. And 0, choose target opponent. Whenever a creature you control does combat damage to that player this turn, create a tap treasure token. So the way this works is interesting. For 1 and for 4, you just get an extra combat, which is great. Extra combat steps are awesome. For 3, you can buff all your creatures and give them first strike. And then for 2, you choose an opponent, and whenever a creature you control does damage to that player, you make a tap treasure. The upside here is total amount is 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 to go, hey, extra combat. All my guys are bigger this time. And if I deal damage to you, if I deal damage to the guy open, I'm going to make treasure. So you full swing at that guy. Possibly kill them. And if you're going, like, this is a go wide card because of this bottom part. But if you go wide and you hit them, like, you just, boom, all of a sudden I get, like, how much damage? Like, a bunch. Like, if you got 5 creatures, you're dealing at least 5 extra damage. So, like, 10 extra damage plus 5 treasures. And it's being seen play, it looks like just Commander, to be honest, which is fair. Dual Commander. Magda's running it too, because the untap and re-swing triggers all the stuff. That's not bad. So, I like Great Train Heist. I think it's good. How to Pay, X in a red for a sorcery. How to Pay deals X damage to target creature. Create a number of tap treasure tokens equal to the amount of excess damage dealt to the creature this way. Okay, so this is kind of cool if you've got nothing better to do this turn, okay? They got that 1-drop there. You literally just go, dump my mana. 1 red, the 6 mana I have here, the 4 mana I have here, 10 damage to your X1. I'm going to get 9 treasures and pass. They're tapped. You're completely wide open the following turn, well, other than the stuff you already have in the field. But then you get a bunch of treasures. So if you're running a treasure deck, this is where that goes in. That's about it. Treasure, like, double token deck. House Spear Brute is 4 in a red for a 5/4 Minotaur Mercenary, affinity for Outlaws, trample. Oh, excuse me. A 5/4 that can be dropped for 1 is pretty good. Is there any? I don't think so, nah. I don't think an Outlaw deck has been thought of. But, like, again, like, if you have Outlaws, like, you can get Outlaws out, like, turn 1, you get an Outlaw out. Turn 2, get another Outlaw out. Turn 3, get 2 more out. And then turn 4, drop this guy. Or turn 1, get an Outlaw. Turn 2, Outlaw. Turn 3, you have 3 lands, you play an Outlaw. This guy costs 2, you get him out. Right? And a 5/4 for trample, I think that's pretty good. I think you could see an aggressive, like, Pioneer deck run Hellspear Brute as, like, an Outlaw drop-off just to beat the crap out of them. So, I kind of like it. In an Outlaw deck, I'd run it. I don't think I'd run it in my Minotaur deck. Maybe. I need more Minotaurs. Hellspear Pose Boss is 2 and 2 red for a 2/4 Lizard Rogue. Other Outlaws you control have haste right there. Boom. Already a great card for any Outlaw deck. Or decks running the Outlaw, one of the Outlaw types. And when it enters the battlefield, you get 2 1/1 red mercenary tokens. That can be used right away. So you're paying 4 to get a total of 4 power on the field, of which you could just make Hellspire Pose Boss a 4/4 and just swing at someone. So this card's great if you're running assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, warlocks, or just an outlaw deck in general. I don't think it's seeing play. It's not. Okay. Again, but like in an outlaw deck, this might actually have some maybe I'll look into building. Okay. Next is Highway Robbery. 1 in a red for a sorcery. You may discard a card or sacrifice a land. If you do, draw 2 cards. Plot 1 in a red. Okay. We gotta talk about these cards. We're getting more of them. Are they good? Okay. 1 in a red to the classic card from, I think, Fate Reforged, Dragon's Tyrant. I think that's the name of it. Where you discard a card, draw 2 cards. You are going +0 on this. You're spending a card. You're spending 2 cards to get 2 cards, okay? Now, the reason why it's technically card advantage in Magic is that you're ditching cards you cannot spend right there. You're using 1 card you're getting rid of a card that draws you them, and then you're getting rid of like a 6-drop early game that you can't use to get 2 more cards. And these 2 more cards might be a land that you need because you missed a land drop, or a card, a cheaper card that you can cast this turn. Stuff like that. What they've been doing is they realize that not a lot of people want to run that because it's a little too much of a card searcher, like a digger, and not card advantage. Highway Robbery says discard a card or sacrifice a land. So all of a sudden, when it's bad is when you have Highway Robbery in your hand and 1 other card, and you're like, ditch these to draw 2. Hopefully I find something I can do. But if you can go Highway Robbery, sack this land, draw 2, and still keep the card I need in my hand, if I need all the cards in my hand, then yes, you're trading still 2 for 2, but it's not the stuff you can use. And it's probably one of the lands you just tapped, giving you that little extra push. I think it's very useful in a very cool ways, and having plot means you can do that and still be able to push. I don't think decks, yeah, okay, decks are Pauper's running this because it's a very good Pauper card. And Is It Phoenix and Rakdos Madness and Rakdos Burn, yeah, okay, Madness Burn, Hot Dog, yeah. This is a Pauper card, and I love the concept. Like, being able to sack your land is great just to keep pushing. So, or discard your card, and it's a common that lets you do that. So, it'll see play in Pauper for years to come, and I think I like it in Commander. I mean, and it's a sorcery, so there's ones that do instant, but like, you can replace your Tyrants, your Dragon's Tyrant, or Tyrant Voice, I think it's called, with this, because it gives you more options. Irascible Wolverine. 2 in a red for a 3/2 Wolverine. When it enters the battlefield, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of turn, you may play that card. Yeah, you gotta plot this card, play it. I just don't. It's not good. Iron Fist Pulverizers, 4 in a red for a 4/5 Giant Warrior with reach. And whenever you cast your second spell each turn, it deals 2 damage to target opponent. Scry a card. I think it's slow. I think it's too slow to play in a deck. Like, cool, each time you get 2 damage to one opponent, not 2. And not all 3, not all opponents. Although, again, 2 damage to target opponent triggers the crime, which is cool. And then you get a scry, but I just don't love it. Langhorn Sharpshooters, 2 in a red for a 3/3 with reach, and whenever it becomes plotted, it deals 2 damage to any target. So this is kind of like trying to be the Giant Stomper. I forget its name. But pay 4, deal 2 damage to an opponent, and then next turn cast it for free, and you get this 3/3 with reach. Yeah, I mean, like, it's worse in every single way, but, like, I don't hate it in, like, a Pioneer deck, maybe. Because it is removal that then gives you Rogue next turn, so not bad. Not great. Magda Horde Master, I love. This is 1 in a red for a 2/2 legendary creature, Dwarf Berserker. Whenever you commit a crime, create a tap treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. As long as your deck is committing crimes, like you're running a mid-range deck and you're running enough pieces, or you're running a control deck and you're removing things, targeting your opponent, or if your commander has a way to target your opponent, Magna is going to trigger enough, like, at least each of your turn to get you a tap treasure. And you can sacrifice 3 treasures to make a 4/4 red Scorpion Dragon creature token with flying and haste, activate only as a sorcerer. So, infinite treasures goes infinite with Magda, because you make infinite treasure, then you sack an infinite amount of them to her effect to get an infinite amount of 4/4 red Scorpion Dragons with haste. Flying and haste. And they all hit, and then everyone dies. They all die. Which is great. That's the entire purpose of what Magda can do. Casually, yeah, it's a treasure deck. You run treasures, you sack them, you make 4/4s to hit people with 4/4s. Very good casually, great competitively. And in the deck, if you're running a treasure deck, I'd run it. Like a mid-range treasure deck. And then if you look here, it's being ran in like even Modern and Pioneer. And the reason why it's being tested in decks, and like Dual Commander loves it. The reason it is being tested in decks is because that triggers like so easily. Oh, I'm going to make you discard a card in my Rakdos deck. Let me get a tap treasure. Okay, oh, it's your turn. I'm going to lightning bolt your face. Let me get a tap treasure. Next turn, I got 2 extra mana. It does so much there. Like, I love it. I think you're going to see it be played a little bit more often. Magebane Lizard is 1 in a red for a 1/4 lizard. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, Magebane deals damage to that player equal to the number of non-creature spells they've cast this turn. Fantastic card. I love this in like a Rookthar style deck, like a burn deck. Oh, you're casting a non-creature spell? Take a damage. Oh, you cast a second non-creature spell? Take another damage. Take another damage. I don't think it's... Oh, yeah. Pioneer. Red deck wins. Yep. Because... it's just a really good... Probably sideboard? If I had to... like, guess? Yeah, 2 sideboarded. So that if you're playing against a non-creature deck... you sideboard that guy in, you drop them, and they're like, ah, crap. If I lightning bolt you twice and draw some cards with my Is It Phoenix deck, that's 6 damage I'm dealing to myself. Like, it really slows them down, which is great. I love that. I love the concept, and I love it in Commander, too, because the amount of damage you can just start dealing to people, artifact, artifact, artifact. Oh, look, I just damaged myself a bunch. Even in, like, I'd love to drop this turn 1 and, like, CEDH and just see everyone go, oh, I'm just going to start taking damage. Mind Rider. 2 in a red for a 3/2 human rogue with trample. When it enters the battlefield, if you control another outlaw, create a treasure token. Maybe in that fictitious Outlaw Pioneer deck I'm thinking of, where like this comes down turn 3, gives you a treasure. That's not bad. And like a 3/2 with trample isn't awful. Outlaws Fury, 2 in a red for an instant. Creatures you control get +2/+0 till end of turn. If you control an outlaw, exile the top card of the library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. Again, this is like right there to be like, okay, maybe an outlaw deck in Pioneer where like, oh look, I'm buffing my outlaws all of a sudden, and I get another card for next turn. Cool. Like, that's useful. If you're running an outlaw deck, going wide strategy, run that card in the deck. In Pioneer. in Commander. Prickly Pears, 2 and a red for a 2/2 plant mercenary. When it enters the battlefield, you make a mercenary with the tap effect. If you're running ETBs, go ahead, I guess. Flicker it, get more of the tokens. Quick draw. Well, and also, like, it's a 3-drop that gives you another outlaw, triggering your outlaw stuff. Again, I think there could be something in Pioneer. I might take a look. Quick draw is a red for an instant. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains first strike until end of turn. Creatures target opponent controls lose first strike and double strike until end of turn. I don't like this. I think it's weak. I like the joke, like, you went faster. But, like, when are they having first strike and double strike? That's such a niche gold. Like, it's not even a silver bullet. That's a gold bullet. Maybe a platinum bullet. Quilled Chargers, 3 and a red for a 4/3 porcupine mount. When Quilled Charger attacks while saddled, it gets +1/+2 and gains menace. Until end of turn. Saddle 2. No. Just no. Like, you need 2 to saddle it, and then it becomes a 5/5 with menace. But it's still a 4-drop. It does nothing. Reckless Lackey is a red for a 1/2 Goblin Pirate with first strike and haste, and for 2 and a red you can sacrifice to draw a card and create a treasure. I like this card. I genuinely like this card. Popper. Yep. Kuldotha Popper. Where is it? Is it sideboarded? No, it's main decked. How many? Yeah, we're running 2. Okay. Yeah. This is my type of Popper deck, guys. And literally, yeah, this card, it's the Kuldotha. As an additional cost to cast this, sacrifice an artifact, put a 1/1 Goblin creature token onto the battlefield. Okay, this gives you an artifact. You play the kiss, you sack it. Yeah, I love this. This Popper deck looks amazing. But yeah, like Reckless Lanny, we'll see play in other Popper decks, mainly that, and some dual commander decks. But I absolutely love this card, just in any pirate or Popper deck. It hits the field and you can hit right away. Pioneer or not Pioneer, sorry, Pirate or Goblin deck for Commander. English. I don't speak it very well, guys, but it gives you a Pirate or a Goblin really quickly. With first strike and haste, great. And an upside, like sack it when you don't need it anymore and get some stuff. Resilient Roadrunner is 1 and a red for a 2/2 creature bird with haste and protection from coyotes, so you can't be targeted with it. Pay 3. It can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste, so, like, yeah, it's not great. I wouldn't. It's really funny that we got them, but it's not great. Return the Favor, 2 red for an instant with Spree. 1, copy target instant or sorcery spell, activate ability, or triggered ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. 1, change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. This card is cracked and is seeing play in like CEDH and Legacy and Pioneer. I'm surprised it's not seeing play in Modern right now, but like, it's great. It does so much. So for 3, like, number 1, you've seen these abilities both for 2, but for 3, you can go, oh, I'm going to copy your counter spell and redirect it at your counter spell. Right. Or I'm going to activated ability, a triggered ability, or like, the other funny thing is literally like, if you do this for, if an opponent goes to activate an ability, you can go, actually, I'm going to copy that ability, and it's mine. Or I'm going to copy that ability. And you can do that for your stuff or your opponent's stuff. Right? You can also copy target instant spell, sorcerer spell, activate ability. So you can also do this in CDH if someone goes off with, I forget the name of the card. The one that the draw card, the not draw card they run. And you just copy it and go boom. But also change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. So if someone's got a target ability, you can just go, no, I'm going to redirect that there. So for 4, you can not only just copy their counter spell, you can also redirect their counter spell. Or, like, in Modern, someone goes Lightning Bolt. For 4, you can go, actually, that Lightning Bolt, I'm going to copy the Lightning Bolt. It's going to target you, and then I'm going to redirect that Lightning Bolt to you, dealing 6 damage to you. Like, it does a lot for control decks. I think it'll be seeing play in all formats it's legal in for a long time. Even casually Commander, this card's so great. Take a look. It's also $1 plus uncommon, so a reason to just buy this deck. This set. Reduo Pyromancers is 3 in a red for a 3/4 human mercenary. Whenever you cast your first spell each turn, add 2 red. I love this card. This card is fantastic. Again, I don't think it's seeing play anywhere, but it is literally going to be like the thing that helps you a lot in either spell slinging decks or any commander deck. This is 2 extra mana a turn. Yeah, you have to cast a spell, but as long as you cast a spell, you get 2 extra mana, and that's so strong. Like, you will see dividends every single time you cast a spell. I'm gonna tap out my 6 to cast my 6 drop. Oh, I got 2 extra mana to do something. Oh, let me cast a small guy. It's just useful. Scale Storm Summoners, 2 in a red for a 3/3 human warlock. When it attacks, you make a 3/1 red dinosaur creature token if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. This card's fantastic in any deck that's the power 4 or greater subtype. Very useful to always get a 3/1. That's tapped and attacking. Or token. No, just token. It doesn't come tapped and attacking. But getting a 3/1 dinosaur every single time you attack with it, that's pretty good. Scorching Shot is 2 red for a sorcery and it deals 5 damage to target creature. I think this is another just card that's really good. And all over the place in Standard and Pioneer. It's not a it's worse than Lightning Bolt, so you're never, well, it's not actually worse than Lightning Bolt. It's actually pretty good. 5 damage to target creature is really strong. It's just a good removal spell. If you're in Commander and you're like 2-color red deck, I'd toss it in there as a good removal spell. 5 damage will kill most stuff. Here is one of the most expensive cards in the set. It's settled down to $12. It was at like $20 at one point. But yeah, this card is 1 in a red for a 1/2 bird wizard with flying and haste, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, a Slick Shot Show Off gets +2/+0 till the turn, and you can plot it for 1 in a red. A Slick Shot Show Off is the thing that brought Modern prowess back into prowess back into Modern. This card buffs, it just wins. It wins games. You get this card down turn 2, you hit them for 1. Cool. Like, Monastery Swift hit them for 1. Slick Shot hit them for 2. Turn 3, 3 instants and sorceries. This guy's dealing 7 damage in the air. Monastery Sister is doing 4 damage on the ground. 4 and 7 is 11. 12, 13, 14 damage you've dealt already. Not to mention, if you got some lightning bolts, it's insane. This will be in Modern and Pioneer and Legacy decks till the sun dies because of what it does. It is such an aggressively costed card. Like, this card just does it. Absolutely insane. Like, there's a reason to plot it probably where, like, you're afraid your opponent has a counter spell, so you plot it until your opponent doesn't. But, like, I just wouldn't plot it. I just get it out and start beating the crap out of your opponents. Dude, it is such an aggressive card. It's so good. When a card comes out and says, hey, that archetype that was dead, it's back alive, that's what this does. Stingerback Terror is 2 in a red, 2 and 2 red for a 7/7 Scorpion Dragon with flying and trample, and it gets -1/-1 for each card in your hand. 2 in a red to plot it. You plot it until you have no cards in hand, and you drop it for a 7/7. It is seen play in Legacy and Modern, because you just ditch your hand, and then 4 for a 7/7 is gross. Or you ditch your hand and plot this, and you just drop it for free. 7/7 flying trample. This card again is just an aggressive card. Such an aggressive card. Like Legacy Dragon Stomp. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, let me just ditch my entire hand and have no hand, and oh look, here's my big dragon guy. Like, Dragon Stomp. It's the only dragon in the deck, guys. It's got its own deck already. Dragon Stompy is now a deck because of him. He made a deck in Legacy. Like, Pioneer, red deck wins. This is just such a good card. Any red deck, because you will not have a hand eventually. So here's a 7/7 for 4. Just gross. If you're running a Madness deck or a Hellbent deck, toss that in there for Commander. Take a Ride's 2 in a red for a sorcery. Take a Ride has flash as long as you've committed a crime this turn. Gain control of target creature till the turn. Untap the creature against haste. I don't like the card. I think it's good in that one old Marchesa deck, the Grixis one. Okay, 3 cards. Terror of the Peaks. Reprint. Love the reprint. Love that it's in standard. 3 and 2 red for a 4/5/4 dragon. This also needed a reprint because it's still expensive, guys. But spells your opponent's cast that target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 left to cast. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield under you control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to enter target. This card is classic. I think it was already in Pioneer at one point, but like it's in Dredge. It's all over the place, guys. Like it's just that strong of a card. It gets out in the field and it just hurts your opponent. Thunder Salvers, 1 in a red for an instant. It deals X damage to target creature, where X is 2 plus the number of other spells you've cast this turn. It's a fine way to remove a creature. If you're running like spell slinging deck, you can cast this. Like it's gonna do 2 damage no matter what, but if you cast a second spell already, you're gonna deal 3 damage to something. That's not bad. And Trick Shot's 4 in a red for an instant. Trick Shot deals 6 damage to target creature and 2 damage to up to 1 other target creature. So 5 to remove 2 problems. Not bad. I don't think it'll ever see play anywhere. It's slow. I just probably wouldn't play it anywhere. So those are the red cards. If there's too many. Slick Shot's so good. String Back is so good. Underrated here. Return the Favor is a fantastic card. Reckless Lackey is doing its own thing. Mage Bane's doing its own thing. Magda's great. Like, there are so many. And, like, I'm tempted to keep the trend up and just... This is a great commander that I want to see more people playing. I kind of want to keep the trend up and just say that the best card is... where was it? It's, no. Where are you? Give me 1 second. It's this. I just say Great Train Heist is, like... the best one, but it's not being seen play in a lot of places. Maybe Commander, you could argue, oh, it does a lot, but I think it's too specific. I think all of these, if you want to take the one that's just like the card doing the most, or like the card that will see the most unionized plays, I think Return the Favor. It's still another Spree card. Surprise, surprise, Spree is the best mechanic from this format, from this set. But it does everything, guys. It's an interactive spell. You can duplicate stuff with it. You can redirect things as protective. It does so much, and it'll see play everywhere, and just continue to see play everywhere that it can. So I'll give it to the Return the Favor. Let me know what your favorite red card is down in the doobly-doo there. We'll talk about it, figure it out. Return the Favor is what I think is the best. Not my favorite. My favorite probably goes to Slick Shot because that's the modern deck I play. But Stringer Back Terror just is so fun too. Have a great day, guys. Peace.